Hi, this is Dr. Kimberley Linert, author of Visualizing Happiness in Every Area of Your Life and host of this podcast, Incredible Life Creator. And today I have with me Miss Sharon Carne. Hey, Sharon.
Hi, Kimberly.
So happy to have you on here. And if anyone's watching the YouTube version, you can see she has these beautiful bowls behind her that I know we're going to talk about. So just so they can know you, I'm going to go ahead and just read your bio. So, Sharon Carne is a best selling author, international speaker, musician, recording artist, master sound healer, mother, grandmother, and evolving elder. She founded Sound Wellness in 2008 after participating as a facilitator in a study on stress through the Integrative Health Institute at Mount Royal University. In 2017, the Sound Wellness Institute was born. Sharon was developed Sharon has developed nationally recognized professional training for holistic practitioners who receive the highest level of tested competency training in Canada and using sound healing to support their practice. The Emergent Workforce programs have been developed to support well-being in the workplace. All right. So, as you know, I'm very excited about all this sound healing and learning about it. So, but first, we want to learn about you. So, tell us about you and your story and how you got into all this.
Oh gosh. Well, back at the beginning,
Mhm.
at least for the instrumental part, or even before then, my mom always sang to us growing up, and I think a lot of people's mothers did, and that kindled a love of music throughout my life. I sang in church choirs for years. I sang in the choirs, two choirs at university when I ended up there. And then, when backtracking a little bit, when I was 16 years old, there was a guitar under the Christmas tree. And I fell in love with the guitar. We were so lucky, Kimberly, to have a teacher half a block away. I babysat for their child, and it turned out to be the perfect thing for me to spark my whole life's journey. It's so fascinating when something that unexpected like that happens, and there are many of them, and how that moves you forward in ways that you kind of never expected.
Yeah. So, you started playing the guitar. Did you play in a band or did you play for yourself?
Well, my teacher, I started just, it was a steel string guitar, but my teacher was a classical guitarist. And every time I went for a lesson, he would play the most gorgeous music I'd ever heard on his records. In those days, the old records, the old record player. And I really fell in love with that. And so switched my steel strings to nylon strings and continued studying for about a year and a half, then went off to university studying different topics, and then it's so fun how things turn out. I ended up going to teachers college and teaching in a tiny town in northern Ontario for 4 years. And while I was there, joined the choir, of course, and and then I needed to finish my degree and so I took a course in music at the university for the summer when I was off. And oh my gosh, it lit a fire that is still burning strong. I loved it. I loved the guitar and I loved this whole area of study. So I went to the professor and I said, "What do I have to do to get into this university as a music major?" I'd had a year and a half of lessons.
Mhm.
And so he said, "Well, you need to have a level 8 on your Royal Conservatory. They have a standardized music training in Canada. Level 8 is what I needed, level 2 theory, and I also needed level 6 piano." And I said, "Okay." And and in 2 years, well, it was such a fire because I was in a tiny town in northern Ontario. I called the conservatory to ask, where's your closest teacher who can teach me level 8 guitar? And that was an 8-hour drive away. I had no car. So I would be teaching public school all day on Friday, hop on the bus Friday night, all night on the bus, go end up in the town where the teacher lived, take my lesson that morning, hang around the bus depot all day, take the bus all night Saturday night to get back to my tiny town in Northern Ontario. And I did that for 2 years, and I got the requirements to get into the university program. Boy, I was way behind everybody else, of course, but it was, when you know in your heart, in your deepest heart of hearts, that you have to do something, you have to do it, or there's just no question about not doing it. You have to do it, and you have to find a way. So that kind of got me started on the music trail, and there's another whole series of cool things that happen to do that course correction, to start moving into sound healing. Just so much fun.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you call motivation. When you go 8 hours for a lesson and 8 hours back home, how many people have that much dedication to anything these days?
Not too many, but it was the only thing. He was the closest person, and it was either that or figure out how to fly somewhere.
Mhm.
But this was a little more doable.
Got it. Oh my goodness. So, obviously you graduated from this school that you got into, and so what was your next step? Where did you go from there?
Well, the at Queen's, I went to Queen's University in Kingston, Ontario, and I got a Bachelor of Music degree there. And I did the 4-year degree in 3 years, so kind of accelerated. And then it just felt like, because I was slow and I had so much catching up to do, I went to Minneapolis and took a Master of Fine Arts degree there in guitar performance. They had a wonderful teacher there, and had a 2-year master's program there. And loved it, still loved it. Minneapolis was fascinating, and what a beautiful campus at the University of Minnesota. And then I went back to where my parents lived in Alberta, which is where I still am. And there was a new music program just starting up at Red Deer College in the town where they lived. So I applied there and started teaching. And that led to, well, there's a lot of course corrections as I got married and my husband got transferred to Houston. So we ended up being there for 3.5 years. So that kind of put a little bit of a stop to the teaching. However, we had our kids in Houston, so
Mhm.
that kind of worked out. And then coming back to Canada again, after our second son was a year old, I started teaching at Mount Royal University here in Calgary. Taught there for almost 30 years. And that was and students from 3 years old all the way up until their 70s, and beginning to university level. It was dream for me,
Wow.
but it wasn't my soul work yet.
It wasn't even your soul work yet. So, there's so many people that say, one day I want to learn how to play the guitar or the piano, whatever. And, there's people that start at all different ages. And if people are saying that someday thing, the someday thing that never comes, what would you encourage them to do to get over the fear of beginning? Because that's all it is. They have a fear of starting, or like they're going to fail or something.
Well, it helps to find the right teacher. I would recommend, if it's music, I would recommend to interview your teacher and make sure it's a good connection, especially for an older adult. And I can tell a story about my uncle he had a brain tumor. My uncle said, in his head that was as big as an orange, and they didn't know it was there until he started losing his memory. They thought he had Alzheimer's. Then they discovered the tumor and they removed the tumor. And because I had always been around playing my guitar, every time I was around family, it's like, Sharon, play your guitar. And he took up the classical guitar because he saw me playing it when he was in his early 70s after he had brain surgery. And it brought his memory back, Kimberly. Music is the one activity you can do that uses every part of the brain and parts we don't even know about yet. And so it is so incredibly healthy for your brain. It's good work and it's fun and it's healthy.
That is for sure. And, especially if you're playing an instrument or doing something with your body, even if it's dancing, when you're integrating your body with your brain, those memories don't go away. I mean, there's studies of even people with Alzheimer's, or some kind of memory loss or brain damage. And you ask them, if they're a musician, hey, well, can you play this? They might not remember who you are or where they are, but they can play the music perfectly.
And that is just so those studies fascinate me in the miracles that are in our brain. I taught my father-in-law how to play the ukulele when he was 94.
Oh, wow.
And he had never picked up a musical instrument. He had serious dementia, and so he couldn't remember a thing. So I put little stickers on the frets for where to put his fingers. He had two chords, and he really wanted to play "You Are My Sunshine" at his grandson's wedding.
Oh.
And oh my, he because he couldn't remember where to change chords, so he had my husband on the floor in front of him with two cards, C, F, and then he could kind of change his fingers. That helped.
Awesome.
And he and I played with him to just help him with and sing because he couldn't play and sing at the same time. So I sang the song and the two of us played. I played on my guitar, he played on the ukulele. You Are My Sunshine for the whole everyone there. Oh, it was there were a lot of tears, and then everybody sang along. We had to do it again. It was so cool.
I know. I'm just getting this overwhelming, fuzzy, warm feeling just thinking about it. Oh, that's beautiful. What a memory for everyone
Mhm.
there.
Mhm. Mhm.
That is amazing. So you were teaching at the university for 30 years, but then you have these bowls behind you. Where did the bowls come in?
Interestingly enough, the Bulls came in with a group of adult students, gosh, probably in the 1990s, who were nervous about performing and they wanted to gain more confidence in performing. So I ordered every book on stage fright that I could find and went through them all and chose 3 or 4 exercises for us to try while we were performing in coffee shops, art galleries, really low pressure situations. And so we chose one that seemed to work better than any of the others, and that was to imagine a color while you're performing. What that does is it distracts the critical part of the mind. That part of the mind, if you've ever played a musical instrument, says, "Here comes the hard part, watch out," or
Mhm.
"Phew, you did that." It all distracts you from playing the music. And so imagining the color worked really well, except that every single time we did it, or if I did it in one of my own events, somebody in the audience got the color. Every single time,
Uh-huh.
somebody in the audience got the color. So I started asking the questions, what on earth is it about sound and music that makes it a carrier wave for thought and emotion and all of that other? And started making a trail to the library and the bookstore and did gosh, probably about 10 years of my own research exploring the field of sound healing and sound therapy, and then ended up in the United States studying with Jonathan Goldman and Tom Kenyon, who were two of the pioneers in sound healing. And that first class, it's like, oh, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. Oh, And then the whole invitation that led towards sound wellness was, it's like the universe drops these little opportunities, and I got used to recognizing them and going, yeah, I can do that, sure. I got a call from out of the blue one day from the director of the Integrative Health Institute. She says, Sharon, I hear you are into sound therapy. And I said, I guess so. Then she invited me to create a program in that study on stress. Well, it went over so well that a month after that, I created Sound Wellness because I thought there's got to be a way to bring this information to a larger audience so that every person on the planet has a relationship with music, whether it's lullabies their mother sang with their favorite music. Every human being knows music. It's our one universal language. In fact, it's our first language. And so it's something that we all are connected with, and there are so many beautiful ways to use it to support our well-being.
Yeah, so, tell me about the bowls and what you do with them.
Oh golly. Well, there's three different elements that we teach in our programs, and sound tools is one of them. And then another one is music, and how to choose music that is created with a healing intention. There's a bazillion choices on YouTube. So where do you start? So we give people some tools on how to start, what kind of music to choose that will calm you down, that will help you sleep, that will do all of those things, and how to choose quality music. So we do, that's one of the category of sound tools, and then the category of your voice, because your voice is magical
Mm.
and it moves everything. So let me go back to the bowls then, because I know there's so many of them here.
Well, this just
Um,
makes me curious. I've been sitting here looking at them, and I'm like, "How does she make those things work?"
I've got one here that one of my friends nicknamed Incredible. Incredible.
Mhm.
Because it has the most amazing sound.
Mhm.
It weighs about 7 pounds. It's a fairly large bowl.
Mhm.
And this one, you can't date them unless you do a specific date, take a piece of it and do a specific dating on it. This one's probably 200 or 300 years old at
Oh.
least. When these bowls were made, the metals were gathered. They were made in Tibet. They were made in Nepal and India. There are some traditions of bowl making in China and also in Japan, where they were used to blending together different metals. And of course, they use them for weapons, but they also use them for metal tools and practical bowls to eat out of.
Mhm.
But these bowls became really powerful tools for spiritual work, for meditation. And they're made out usually out of 7 different metals that are all blended together, and then they're hammered. I'll bring it closer to the camera. You can still see the hammer strokes. See the little dents in there?
Yes.
And it's believed that in for the person making the bowl, that every single hammer stroke that went into creating the shape of the bowl was accompanied with a prayer or an om or a mantra. And so the prayerful sacred energy in the bowl is just filled with it. And when you tap the bowl to release the sound, it's also said that you release 1,000 prayers into the space.
Wow.
It's that kind of energy in the old Tibetan bowls. So and I'll tap it 3 times so you get a chance to experience its sound. And it has waverings or wah 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 sounds at different levels. It has really low and slow ones like wah, and then it has faster ones at higher and higher and higher levels. So when I tap it, you can hear some of those different levels of waverings. in modern science, they've actually found those are brainwave entrainment frequencies that help you meditate. They calm down the brain. They knew that hundreds of years ago when they started making these, which is so fascinating. Anyway, let me play the sound.
Yes.
Okay, so here we go. And I'll tap it again. It'll go on and on and on. Could you hear the wavering sounds, Kimberly?
Well, the interesting thing is, even from the computer we're using, because of the sound and the sound coming out, I could even feel the vibrations, which is amazing because you think, well, you're in Canada, I'm in Georgia in the United States, and you're playing it in your room over there, and I can hear it, which I expected to hear it, but I wasn't expecting to feel the vibrations.
Can you tell me, did you feel it in a certain area of your body?
Um, well, I definitely felt it in my ears, and I felt it kind of like in the top of me where my heart is, and maybe even into my solar plexus a bit.
Oh, that's fascinating. And one of the things that the last 5 years has taught me with having to do much of this sound work online is that first thing that I learned about sound, that it was a carrier wave, is that when you play sacred sound, even over the computer, the person who's listening receives it. And the intention, my intention was just to be empty and allow the sound to go out so that your listeners could experience it. And how fascinating. It doesn't seem to matter if we're in the same room or thousands of miles away.
Yeah, that is amazing. So, if people are looking for something to listen to, um, I was just reading some of the show notes you sent me about, you know, that the sound is like food for your nervous system, and there's junk food and there's healthy food. So I would like to know which is which.
That's a fabulous question. Yeah. Well, just like food, that we have the junk sound, or junk food, good food, and superfood. And junk sound is noise like jackhammers and sirens or a loud fan that's aggravating you. It's music that you can't stand. The junk sound will raise stress hormones in the nervous system. Your nervous system responds with hormones to sound and music. And if it's junk sound, it's responding with stress hormones. So when we come into good sound, then we have nature sounds. And it's like your nervous system goes, when you're in nature sounds, whether it's beautiful ripples of a lake like the one you have behind you, or it's the ocean waves, or bubbling water, or bird song, or wind in the leaves, rustling the leaves. All of those sounds stimulate the nervous system to relax and to send out hormones that help you relax, that help you digest better, that helps boost your immune system, all of those things. And so those beautiful sounds included in the good sounds, the good food sounds, is your favorite music. It will do the same thing. It will stimulate the nervous system to release hormones that keep you healthy and keep you strong and keep you more balanced, so that stress isn't as strong as it is in most people. We have a stress epidemic more than we have any other kind of epidemic. And so we need to find ways to bring that nervous system into harmony, and sound, because it's food for your nervous system, is one of the most powerful. So your favorite music, sing along with your favorite song is even better, because then you're bringing in your voice.
Mhm.
Sound goes through you, and as it goes through you, it does this to all your atoms and molecules. So it gives things a massage inside and out. And it's a wonderful feeling, especially your voice. And then wind, water, birds are the healthiest sounds that there are for a human. And then we get into super sound, which is all of these.
Mhm.
And it's using your voice for sacred song, for sacred mantras, another way, using the tone of voice in a healing way. Also, the sound tools, which tuning forks or bells or chimes, those things that feel good to your heart, that feel good to your body, you always know. You always know, because your nervous system will respond like that. I needed that.
Uh,
Is the feeling you get also from super sound.
So, you have the bowls and tuning forks and things, and there's, practitioners that you're teaching that they also have these. So someone could go to someone who does sound healing for a therapy session. But let's say you just want to do it at home, but you don't have a bowl and you don't have a tuning fork. Is it just listening to the music you like, or is there those sounds you were just doing? Is a recording, does it work just as well?
What a great question. And there's several things that you can do, several things. One of them is sing along to your favorite song. That is a very healthy thing to do. Another thing is and this relates to your favorite music. And one of the ways that you respond to sound is that your heart tries to match the beat of the music in your environment. We cannot turn that off. Your heart is designed to beat along with the beat of the music in your environment. Now, we know from medicine that a relaxed heartbeat is between 50 and 70, or 60 and 80, depending on which books you're reading, beats per minute. So, um, what I love, I found this out more recently, is you can go to Spotify or you can go to YouTube and type in 60 beats per minute. And you will have playlists come up in rock, in country, in pop, in all kinds of genres. I'm sure you'll find your favorite one, that is all music that is at 60 beats per minute. You just play it softly in the background while you're doing whatever, and your heart within about 5 minutes will start to beat at 60 beats per minute. And when you do that, your breathing calms down, your brain waves calm down, and you're more productive, you're balanced, you're happier. It's so easy, and I love that. It's so 60 beats per minute, type it in, and it, boom, and up it comes. So that's a fabulous way. And another way is you can also use your own voice in really simple ways, because that's already built in. You've already got it. You don't need your phone or your computer or anything to listen to something else. You always have your voice. And our nervous system is built into responding to our voice when we do certain sounds. I call them the natural voice of the body. They're sounds like, ah, ooh, aha. Moans and groans are all natural sounds that come out without thinking about it. And every one of those sounds stimulates the nervous system to release endorphins that help manage pain, especially with moans and groans, and also to release hormones that helps to release stress from the body. Now, there's one sigh that I love to teach, because a sigh is our way of releasing stress. We just go, or releasing frustration with a, you know, that
Mhm.
one. And and there's a way to put that one on steroids. The super sigh or the vocalized sigh sounds like this. Ah. So you make a long vocalized sigh starting somewhere around the middle of your vocal range and let it just slide down. And boy, in three of those breaths, your blood pressure's probably gone down, your shoulders would have dropped, you'd have a smile on your face.
Mhm.
There would be also more relaxation. It's so fast. It takes seconds.
I love that hack. That is awesome. And you can do it anywhere.
Well, it might sound a little funny on the subway as you're going, ah. A lot of people do that anyway, though. That's how
Uh-huh,
they sigh. They
uh-huh,
do a vocalized sigh,
uh-huh.
and you might get away with it.
You might, or people just might look at you, but you'll be happy, so who cares?
You will. You might have them doing along with you. How come she looks so relaxed?
Exactly. So, like this morning and almost every morning, I jump on my rebounder and I put on music, but I'm sure it's higher than 60 beats per minute because it's my happy dance music. So,
Exactly. Exactly.
when I do that, I'm not really relaxed, but I am very happy. So, what happens
Ex
when you go to those faster for beats? I mean, besides what I noticed.
and that's a really good question too, because a lot of the exercise classes use very fast beat music in order to speed up the heartbeat, so you have more energy when you're exercising, because the blood is flowing more quickly. Now, that your heart will, if you put on something that's super fast, your heart will try to match it, but it's not healthy for the heart to beat that fast for that long, or you go into medical challenges.
Mhm.
So your heart has its own stopgap. It's got as if to say, no, far enough for me. And it'll just maintain a pace at a faster pace. And another thing I love to do when I'm driving long distances, I have my favorite lively music to play that has a faster beat that helps to keep me focused. Because you don't want to play really calming, relaxing music when you're driving unless you're really stressed out when you're driving.
Mhm.
But there you want to have something that's a little more lively.
Right. Well, smooth jazz. I like smooth jazz if I'm going to drive for a long time. But I was thinking of, I don't know exactly the theme song, but the name of it. But you know this song they play when Darth Vader comes out? Dun, dun,
Dun,
dun.
dun, dun, dun,
Yeah,
dun,
that one.
dun, dun,
So if you
dun.
if you play stuff really slow like that, is it actually going to do the opposite and make you feel sad or bad or
Well, we all respond to music. However, we all respond in our own way to music. And so for one person it could make them feel creeped out
Mhm,
because it is a little mysterious, that theme.
mhm,
With another person it'll bring back memories of joy and watching the movies with their families. With another person it could bring back the fun they like with their Darth Vader toys. Everyone will, it'll bring back memories and everyone will have a different response to it. And something that's really slow, the heart will try to match it. If it has sad sounds, of course we have emotional response to music too. And so we always will respond emotionally. We just don't realize our body and our nervous system is responding too.
mhm.
And so it was something sad, and I know I've cried with sad songs, probably more so lately. I don't know, but it's something that touches your heart, and will the nervous system responds with emotions in that way. Yeah.
I'm learning so much. I bet everyone else is learning so much here. It's just very, very interesting. So back to the bowls, because I'm so curious about those bowls. So if someone were to come to you and they say, I haven't been feeling my best. I'm maybe feeling anxious or whatever they're coming for. What would be the procedure? What would you do with them? Would you have them like like a psychiatrist, lay on my couch and I'm gonna play this song, or how do you do the therapy with them?
Oh, that's a cool question. And with someone who comes, it depends on the reason. They might be coming with physical pain, and there are a lot of several different tools that I'll use with a person with physical pain. Emotions will often have a huge contribution to physical pain. That's one thing that sound is so incredibly helpful with in releasing the emotional component to even a disease within the body. That helps stimulate the natural healing ability of the body. When someone comes in, we set our goals. What do you want to do? I've had people, one lady came in and she said, Sharon, I want you to heal my relationships. And I said, okay, we're going to be working on the second chakra and we're going to be working a lot on your heart. Is that okay with you? And you're going to be using your voice, so we're going to be using incredible on your heart and we're going to be doing a lot of different things. Yeah, I want you to heal my relationship. She was ready to go.
Wow.
And fascinating. And then somebody might come in with just high stress. I've had several people come in just for stress management. Now, if someone comes in, well, with every client, I always start with a series of tuning fork sounds that I call the nervous system balance. And we have this on our website. You can download for free. It's a 4-minute track, Kimberly, that settles the nervous system right down. And it 4 minutes of listening while you're brushing your teeth or while you're eating breakfast is really easy to do. If for the rest of the day your nervous system is set towards harmony. Now things can happen to get it. Well, we're emotional beings, so we're always moving and shifting that way. However, to start with the nervous system balanced every morning is a very good thing. So we have that available, and I do that with the tuning forks by every client's ears. That's the very beginning of every session, nervous system balance for 4 minutes. And then, depending on what their goal is, we can do incredible goals on the body. If they're really highly stressed, I have them lie on their tummy, and then incredible goes on. I do give them a back massage with the old bowl. As you felt those low vibrations going wah 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 wah, then that does the same thing to all of the muscles and tissues in the body, because sound goes through you, and as it goes through you, it sets everything into vibration, including the emotional energy that's being held in between the atoms. It gets shaken up, and most times it just goes without any story or counseling or anything. It just goes. Sometimes there's a process that I use where we use the voice to clear emotional energy, which can also be a very quick process. So back massage, and then we work on the chakras to do a chakra balance with the bowl, usually on the body, or we use the voice to balance the chakras. Or if there's physical pain, I'll bring in some of the longer tuning forks, kind of like this one, which is a tuning fork with weights on the ends that when you activate it, then you can place that on the body and it vibrates specific tissues. So if there's a joint problem or arthritis, I have arthritis from all years of playing, so I use the tuning forks on knuckles and other parts that feel uncomfortable, or on hips or back. The tuning forks are also really helpful. We teach a lot of massage therapists to use the tuning forks and the bowls on the body because they relax the muscles so well. They don't have to do as much with their hands, and so it saves them physically from a lot of physical work all day long. They love the forks and the bowls.
Yeah. And I was just wondering because I noticed, no, I'm a very kinesthetic person, so I feel things very strongly. But I mean, I noticed that different sounds, um, I can feel them vibrating in my body. So I'm like, is it a certain like A B C D E F G? Is it like a certain one that goes to a certain part of your body? Or is it a certain, high or low vibration that goes to certain parts of the body?
That's a great question because there are some forks. I have a couple here that you use by the ears. When I do the nervous system balance, they're forks that are like this. When they don't have the weights on them, usually they're to be used by the ears. Or I can point the sound when they're vibrating. I can point the sound, and then there'll be a gentle vibration, like a breeze along the skin. Is what you feel from the sound, because there are receptors for sound all throughout the body, and so the sound doesn't have to be by the ears. The body will respond. Although these ones I like by the ears. They're the forks. They're so, a lot of the forks are are given jobs for specific things, but to me they're more all-purpose because the body knows what to do with sound. It communicates with sound. The cells talk to each other with sound, and there's maybe this one. This one is the one of my favorite all-purpose forks. This one was developed by Dr. John Beaulieu, and he developed the forks that I used for that nervous system balance too. And this one can be used anywhere and everywhere. So tight muscles, tight jaw, it can be used. It can be used arthritis, of course, muscles. The longer fork I like to use on the deeper muscles, like around the glutes and the hamstrings and the hips especially, or along the low back can be really helpful in the low back, the lower sounds. And this one just everywhere. That's why I keep them back here. Because if I'm sitting at the computer hunched too long, I just bring the fork out and go, oh boy, that feels good. I needed something on the shoulder there.
That's awesome. Well, I'm enjoying this so much, but I bet you there's people who would like to connect with you. And I know you're training other people to do this. So at this point, tell us, about your website, where to connect with you on social media, what services you have.
Oh, well, thank you, Kimberly. Probably our email and address is everywhere. You don't have to fill out a form, I don't think, on most of our sites. You can give us a call. The phone number's there too. Soundwellnessinstitute.com is where we have our programs and contact. There's also soundwellness.com where we have our online store where we do sell some sound tools and programs there, and our blog. The I've been writing the blog for about 15 years, and there are all kinds of tips and tools in the blog. And our YouTube channel will give you an opportunity to explore the different sounds. There's a whole series of meditations that I did. I called them Meditations with the Ancients, with these old bowls. So there's a whole playlist of these beautiful sounds of these old bowls that you can explore and play with. Lots of different ways of checking out different types of sound on the YouTube channel and social media. I'm on Facebook a fair bit and on LinkedIn too, and a little bit on Instagram. Still kind of working that one out.
Mhm. Beautiful. Well, now I have a personal question for you. What gives you the most happiness and fulfillment in your life at this point?
Following my heart. And I think I've always done that even when I haven't intended to. My heart will always give me a knock on the side of the head or something. They go, "What are you doing?" Following my heart.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much for being on the podcast today and sharing all your music and sound wisdom.
Oh, thank you so much, Kimberly, for the invitation to be here with you.
Yeah, so I have one last question before we finish. What is your best advice on living an incredible, amazing life?
Follow your heart.
Love that. Simple. Follow your heart. All right. Well, thank you so much, Sharon.
Oh, thank you, Kimberly.
Yeah, we'll talk to you again soon.